visual novel reading of some of my old visual novels today. This will be nice and short, so I hope that anyone who comes in here will be able to stay for at least one of the stories, because I'm going to be reading 2 stories today. But before that, a little bit of a background on myself, actually, as a visual novel creator. Let's go here. So if you go to vndb.org, that's the visual novel database, you'll see that I'm actually a veteran of this. Search for Lord Cloud X. Producers. And here I am, Lord Cloud X. So, these are all of the visual novels I've released under the name Lord Cloud X. But I am also the creator of Radical Dreamers 2002, which is the creative group name that I use for my visual novels. So, if you go to Radical Dreamers 2002, you'll see here I've been making visual novels as far back as 2005. And if you go here, you'll see my very first visual novel release. Right here. It's called Wings. And the description is that it's a short, non-branching anime-themed visual novel created with a Rentai engine. Not much of a description. Here's my artwork from back then. You'll see I was really terrible back then at drawing. Look at that. It's horrible. And here again. See? Really bad at drawing. Anyway, if you want to check out my older visual novels, all you have to do is go to this other URL here, which is my blog for my very old visual novels, Radical Dreamers 2002 Legacy, which is at rd2k2-games.blogspot.com. I'm quite proud of this one, by the way. 1 week of eternity. Let's check it out. Here we go. You have Samantha and the Pieces of a Heart, which is my latest visual novel, released sometime 2016, I believe. And here is Hickory's Ribbon. It's a very nice story. I should do a reading of it next time. It's a simple children's story, but I still need to find the files that I used back then. And we had an online magazine and stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna wait for a few more people to hop in, I think, before I start this. Because it would be kind of a waste if absolutely nobody was here. Actually, GMC, are you still there? I don't really know. Oh, hello, Geeks with Cash. I was just talking about my history as a visual novel creator. But anyway, let me give you a wrench real quickly. How do I add a wrench? Like so. I go here, add moderator. There you go. Anyway, enough of that. Let's close this browser. Where's the browser? There it is. Just close it. And it's time to start the actual visual novel for today, which is The Wonders of Glue. Let's put the window capture up. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. It's kinda small. Let's make it bigger. Because it's a visual novel. We have to read it. A little background on The Wonders of Glue. It's only around 5 minutes of reading. But it might last around 10 to 15 minutes if I read it. Because I have to narrate it and stuff. So this is it. It's very simple, very minimalistic, and it only uses filtered photographs that I took myself. And some of them are from stock photos. This was made around the time when the visual novel creation community in English, everybody was all about polish, all about making things, making the next big thing, being the next visual novel creator rock star. You know how it goes. Be professional. Make your work stand out from the others. Go for a 250k word count. Make really shiny, really cute, really beautiful drawings of the characters. Go for multiple routes. Do something different with the RenPy engine that we're using. Make your VN, your visual novel, more dynamic. Everybody was into that sort of stuff. So this visual novel I made is a sort of subversion of what the community wanted at that time. Because truth be told, I am a rebel. I don't like other people telling me what I should be making. That's stupid. Don't you agree? Yeah? With that said, it's time to start this visual novel. How do I start it? My cursor disappeared completely. Yes, it did. Alright. No? Okay. Here we go. Glue is quite fascinating, don't you think? Hello, KKJ. Nice to see you here. This is just a short 5 to 10 minute reading, by the way, if you want to stay. Anyway, let us continue. Glue is quite fascinating, don't you think? This liquid, or sometimes semi-liquid little wonder, has been around since the time of the ancient Babylonians. It is a constant adhesive substance that we have grown so accustomed to using in our daily lives that we sometimes take its importance for granted. As I sat there mending my old shoe together with some mighty bond, I couldn't help but be fascinated with the wonders of glue. It's a piece of technology that has remained virtually unchanged through the years. Glue can fix even the most fragile of broken bonds, working its magic as precisely or imprecisely as the skill of the mender allows. And after it has worked its magic, it leaves almost no trace that it's ever been there. Although, this is partly brand dependent. As I was engrossed in my rather leisurely task, my thoughts drifted back to the days of my youth long past. Back then, life was so much simpler, so much happier, and people seemed just a little bit more trustworthy. Before the advent of television, the local plazas were the only source of entertainment, apart from shady establishments, which most people frowned at. Celia, hurry up! We want to get a good spot for the movie. My younger sister used to bug me like this whenever there was a Coca-Cola or Marlboro-sponsored movie to be shown in the plaza. The way it happened was that some big-name company would sponsor a free movie showing at the plaza's basketball court, and a professional barker would make the announcement all over the neighborhood in a van with a loudspeaker attached. All the kids knew his speech by heart. There were slight variations based on the movie, but it was always something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, come one, come all, hear me out. An exciting movie will be shown at 7 p.m. tonight. There will be fighting. There will be drama. There will be suspense. And there might even be just a little bit of kissing." As children, me and my playmates would chant along with the barker. A new movie was shown every week, usually on a Friday. For us kids, it was a chance to stay up late and watch the latest cool thing from the States. Me and my 2 brothers and 3 sisters wouldn't be able to take our afternoon nap in anticipation of the movie. Come movie time, everyone would dress in their Sunday best and arrive at least an hour early. The important people, such as the event organizers or the politician who sponsored the movie, would have special VIP seats up front. There were limited seats available, so some people would actually bring their own chairs. There are also some people climbing the trees and watching from there. I wanted to try it myself, but my parents expressly forbid any one of us to even try that. That also reminds me, parental authority was so much simpler to impose back then. Don't even think about it or I'll spank you with a ruler when we get home. This was quite an effective deterrent. I think this whole anti-violence against children movement nowadays is a bit silly. We grew up fine with our parents' traditional Spanish disciplinary method. My own children did fine with a slightly toned-down version of the same. Over the course of time, as I grew from being a child, a teenager, and eventually a professional educator, the plaza movies reflected the transition of the eras. At first, there were only silent movies like the old Charlie Chaplin comedy shows. Then came Technicolor, and with it, a host of cowboys versus Indians movies. These shows actually had sound. We could hear what authentic American English sounded like for the first time. Incidentally, parents didn't think much of the amount of violence their children would be exposed to back then. The movie was good, as long as there were no sexual connotations. The occasional kiss was fine and wholesome. The last few shows I saw were during my college years. I was already married at that time. This was the time of vaudeville and musical type of movies, where the actors would suddenly break out into song. Annie was a film that I would never forget. The singing and dancing made me feel like a child again at times. Of course, as I would later discover, I really was still pretty much a child on the inside during those early parts of my adult life. Yeah! Mama! Mama! My 9-month-old granddaughter's protests jostle me back to reality. It seems that she'd just woken up from her crib, and I happened to be the only person in the house who was still awake at the moment. Convenient. I prepare my aging but still relatively strong knees to get up. But first, I turn to my handiwork and realize that the adhesive had already set while I was reminiscing. Glue is indeed a wonderful substance, able to mend almost anything in a sticky, transparent liquid or semi-liquid. I think about how it would be wonderful if life had such a catalyst. Something that could mend a broken family, a lost friendship, or perhaps even a wounded heart that has never healed in over a decade from the loss of a husband. In an unobtrusive way that you wouldn't even notice unless you were looking too closely. I smirked at the thought. Making my way into my granddaughter's room, I noticed that she'd thrown her favorite piano laptop toy to the floor, and it was now broken into 2 pieces. She looked inconsolable as she continued to cry out, "Mama! Mama! Mama!" Don't worry, dear. Mama will fix things in a jiffy. Ah, yes. The wonders of glue. The end. So let's read the author's notes, although, well, these are my notes. But yes, why not? Hello, this is Lord Cloudex. Chronologically, this is the 3rd tiny epic I've created for the Baka Trio Collaborative Microgame Creation Project. This time I'm using a story that I wrote and published as Haruhi Suzumiya in the Lemisoft forums. Contrary to what some of my contemporaries might be thinking, this story was never written with malicious intent as compared to my other story, Illusions. Despite any express admissions I might have uttered in the channel, I would like to point out that my written works still reflect my true personality rather than the cynical, hyperactive persona that you have come to know as Lord Cloudex. As mentioned in the README, The Wonders of Glue is also very personal for me, as my own take on a semi-fictional slice of life of Filipino culture. I'm not a patriot by anyone's standards, nor can I claim to have actually experienced the events presented in this very short, non-branching story. And this is precisely why I find this piece so personally significant for myself as a writer. Visual novels exist to impart a unique experience that books and movies can never hope to match. the advantage of audio-visual cues, coupled with a reader's total control of the reading speed, the visual novel creator can utilize one of the greatest abilities of the human mind, imagination. One that comes alive in music, subtle visuals, and narrative text. This is how I've always seen visual novels as a medium of expression, and I hope this piece, short, amateurish, slapped together, or mediocre as you may deem it to be, has in some way given you a hint of that creative vision. Lord Cloud X. And that is that. I wonder if anybody was even around to hear that, but let us turn this off. Oh, KTJ went away? So, I guess I'm all alone here again. I suppose, it's time for my other visual novel, Unpolished. Let's put it up on screen real quickly. Okay, so let me check if there's actually anyone there. Hey, somebody shared it, TJ2000. Why, thank you very much. If you're here, TJ2000, why don't you say something in the chat? So I will know that at least I'm not totally alone here. Well, right now I see nobody in the chat, so I guess I am alone for a little while. Let's just wait for at least one person to show up so I can start on Unpolished. For now, though, let's see what's going on here. I guess it's a Saturday, so most of you guys are probably away somewhere. You're still here, Geeks with Cash. So I guess I'll start on my other short visual novel, Unpolished. Thank you for letting me know. And so, I conclude that charter change before the next presidential elections would result in... His voice trailed off into the roar of the crowd. I was watching him from the side. From his delivery, I could tell that he had the right idea. He knew how to tackle the issue and how to conduct himself as a speaker. There was something lacking. I'm not sure if it was because he was inexperienced or he simply didn't have the confidence. But his performance seemed permeated with hesitation. His voice cracked every now and then, and he made long, audible pauses such as and well, extending the syllable in an attempt to buy him time to collect his thoughts. Music too loud. Much better. Let's continue. Still, the worse he does, the better it is for me. It's not that I'm being selfish, but it's the simple truth in these types of situations. I closed my eyes and sighed exaggeratedly, all the time fully aware that someone else would be watching my every move. I leisurely strolled back to my designated seat. Luckily, this time we weren't exposed to the crowd. In the usual setup, we'd be seated parallel to each other, right in front of the listeners. This made it very hard to concentrate on the issue and formulate proper responses. Not to mention the time pressure. We were given only 10 minutes each to prepare, and it was my turn to speak up next. I tried to gather my thoughts. And the increase of value-added taxes from 10% to 12% is unconstitutional! That darned amateur. I couldn't concentrate because he was making such horrible rookie mistakes. Did he really think that raising his voice suddenly like that would sway the audience? In any case, I didn't have time to be bothered with him. I checked my wristwatch. I'd already wasted 4 precious minutes just pacing back and forth. I opened the piece of paper I'd been clutching in my hand. I checked it twice, just to be sure. The meaning of the written words slowly seeped into me. I'd already read them a few minutes ago, of course. It was just, I wanted to confirm what they said. To make sure that they hadn't somehow changed through some bizarre act of divine intervention. I guess that, deep inside, some part of me wanted it to be different. It's funny because my resolve was so strong when I first laid eyes on what was written on that piece of paper. But as the clock slowly began winding down on my 10-minute preparation time, doubt reared up its ugly head. The resounding applause signaled the end of the speaker's delivery. I felt slightly relieved that I'd at least have 5 more minutes of peace and quiet before it was my turn. I went over my outline in my head. Actually, this anxiety I was feeling was quite normal. In fact, I'd say there was a lot less pressure at that time as there was in the preliminaries. Partly, this was because what I was about to do was radically different from my colleagues. The listeners wouldn't be expecting it, and neither would he. I couldn't have cared less about the malicious murmurs from the crowd after my performance. Rather, I expected it and reveled in the thought of it. It didn't really matter to me, because if they reacted with any hint of disgust, disapproval, shock, or confusion, then that would mean that I had succeeded. I felt like a terrible person for having these thoughts, and yet I also knew that this was the subjective truth for me. Oh God! I blurted out vocally in self-admonishment. Almost immediately, faint whispers came from my colleagues in short, nearly inaudible waves throughout the waiting area. I didn't think much of this other than the fact that it was proof that they acknowledged my presence. The truth was that I didn't really care how people would judge me after that performance, if you could call it that. There was really only one reason for my reservations up to this point. This overbearing figure cast a grim shadow of a doubt over my intended actions. How would he take this? He might hate it. Perhaps he'd just admonish me, but knowing him, he might not hesitate to resort to violence, or even disregard my existence completely. This was one thing I could not accept. Still, my chances were probably 50-50. I wasn't really sure how he'd react. My speculations were based solely on a worst-case scenario. Also, there was really no point in fussing over it. I had made my decision. I had to go through with it. There really were very few options. I could take the coward's route and just go through the motions of the speech just like we planned. I probably had enough experience to ad-lib and make up for the lost preparation time with thin eloquence. Then there's the brave but foolish path, where I just openly admit that I wasn't prepared and withdraw. Knowing him, this decision would be tantamount to suicide. My preparation time had drawn to a close. Will the next speaker please come up on stage? I rose, fixed my clothes, and strode up to the stage. To any onlooker, I must have had the look of total confidence in the way I carried myself on stage. It wasn't anything special. I'd been trained for this since I was 4 years old. Even if I was a bundle of nerves at that moment, my body would not show it. Reacting nearly by instinct, my legs would carry me surely and briskly to the imposing microphone that towered about 4 feet above the audience. All the while, I would be wearing a camera smile on my face and a posture that would make a supermodel envious. In my mind, I saw myself taking a deep breath. But of course, I did no such thing in reality. I bowed before the audience, and then I held my left hand out to the judges to signal that I hadn't started yet. You have 5 minutes, Miss Speaker. I closed my eyes to better concentrate on the task at hand. My breathing was even. My heart was beating strongly, but steadily. Having collected myself, I walked up to adjust the mic. I calmly repositioned the microphone, tapped it twice, and then said in a seasoned voice that was crisp, clear, and totally at home on stage. Mic test. Time seemed to stand still within the auditorium as soon as they'd heard me speak. I hadn't said anything substantial at all, but I didn't need to. Just the very sound of my voice demanded that everyone in the auditorium listen, and listen well, because this petite but confident-looking girl had something to say. To the members of the Board of Judges, to the organizers of this event, to my esteemed colleagues and their respective trainers, good afternoon. It was a textbook greeting, nothing fancy, but enough to let the listener know that at this point in time, the speaker is in control of the stage. My question is phrased: what is your opinion on the Ileana-Padilla feud? And here was the point of no return. I am sorry. As I said this, my eyes were searching frantically for him amongst the audience. This is not a proper question for an extemporaneous speaking competition. I found him. This inquiry would feel much more at home in a beauty contest. He was near the entrance, standing. Why would I be interested in a controversy fueled by the gossip mongers of the mass media? I couldn't read his face. I never could. It was so stoic, so expressionless, that I might as well have been staring at a stone wall. I came into this auditorium to participate in a scholarly competition. My mind told me to stop. It almost seemed as if my body was possessed by someone else. To the organizers of this competition, why would you ask me to talk about the personal quarrel of two TV stars? I had gone past the point of no return. As soon as I decided to walk up to the stage, I am sorry, but contrary to popular opinion, not all high school students are gossip mongers who follow the latest trends on prominent TV personalities. To be honest, I have nothing to say on the subject matter, except my utter disgust at such an insult to my intelligence and to the very art of extemporaneous speaking itself. Do you realize how much effort me and my colleagues put in before a competition? I can only speak for myself, but I know fully well that no one on the stage came here unprepared. For several months every day, we have to memorize significant dates, current events, and authority opinions stated in several newspapers, media broadcasts, international magazines, just to cram in enough information to be able to tackle any relevant question given to us on the day of the competition. And all this we do in order to sustain a speech that only lasts for a few short minutes come competition time. I would think that the organizers, who have presumably been through what we are now experiencing, would be more considerate to the competitors. Unfortunately, it seems I was mistaken. Ladies and gentlemen, good day. And then, I took 2 steps backwards, away from the microphone, and bowed. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The sound of applause. That girl talks sense. Yes, whatever possessed him. This was totally different from what I'd expected. And then, the applause and the murmurs of appreciation came to an abrupt halt. An imposing-looking man had walked right up to the stage. His very presence seemed strong enough to make mountains tremble, let alone silence an audience of a few hundred people, mostly consisting of parents and friends of the contestants. The man approached me and offered his hand. I smiled genuinely and took it without hesitation. Then, he led me slowly and confidently down the stage, through the central path of the auditorium, and outside through the exit. Still clutching my hand, we walked to the car together. We strode leisurely. The sun had nearly set, and it bled into the sky, painting it with a bright shade of crimson. Finally, he spoke. That took quite a lot of courage, didn't it? I looked at him straight in the eye. My resolve was firm. I didn't flinch even as I stared into his piercing gaze. Yes, sir. He smirked and stroked his chin. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure if I approve of your actions. It did cost you the competition just now, you know. I'm aware of that. It worked well enough this time, but I don't want to see it becoming a habit. Yes, sir. He stopped in his tracks. But whatever happens in the future, today, I want you to know that I'm proud of you. I felt tears involuntarily flooding my eyes. A strange sensation of mixed relief and happiness swept over me as the tension gradually faded from my body. Also, the contest is over. Want some ice cream? Yeah, I want the giant sundae this time, Dad. The end. And so we come to the end of my other short visual novel that I wanted to share today to my new audience on YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed that, even if you're just watching this from the archives. I think I'm going to end the stream now, since I have finished doing my visual novel reading, but I got to hang out for a little while longer if anybody has any questions about the stories, about creating visual novels in general, or even about my experiences as a visual novel creator. As I gotta tell you, I'm quite the veteran at this. Anyway, there's no author's notes for this one. It's called Unpolished. And to explain the story to you, just in case you had trouble following it, basically the main character here is smack dab in the middle of an extemporaneous speaking competition. It's sort of like an interview wherein you're given a random question and then given 5 minutes to prepare and then 5 minutes to give your speech. And you're judged along with the other competitors based on how well you answer, how well you tackle the question, what kind of references you use, and how well you deliver your speech, the way you speak. It's a very common competition here in the Philippines. So basically, the main character didn't like the question. She thought it was stupid because it was about the lives of, it was about the feud, the fight between two movie stars, which the public really shouldn't really care about. It's kind of like asking in a competition that's supposed to be scholarly what the speaker thinks about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case. Something like that. So she admonishes the organizers of the competition, and all the while, in the back of her mind, she's very scared of this one person in the audience, which is revealed at the very end to be her very strict and yet supportive and loving father. And that's about it. It's all about how the story is presented for me. The use of words, you know, in order to tell the tale. As a writer, I'm all about that. I'm all about diction. how you can tell a story beautifully using words. Not just about telling a good story, but about how you use the words in order to impart the story in a way that has an impact on the audience. And that's what I was going for with these two short visual novels. I have a longer visual novel which is 1 Week of Eternity. It's about this child who was diagnosed with a terminal illness and about how she is given the choice to live for eternity or to go on living and try to beat the disease by herself, with the help of her family, of course, to face reality or to live in a fantasy, a time loop, wherein she relives the last 5 days of her life for eternity, never growing old, always staying a child. And that's why it's called 1 Week of Eternity. It's a story that I wrote for this online magazine that we had back then. And I wrote it for about 5 months. Yeah, it took me about 5 months to finish it. So I wrote a new chapter every month. And it was released together with the magazine. And it ended with a 5th volume of the magazine. I think I'm gonna read that for you guys next time. Maybe we'll just do 1 chapter at a time. Why, hello, Retro Umbreon. I actually just finished reading my 2 visual novels. But I was just talking about my experiences as a visual novel creator as well, way back then. Anyway, I'm gonna close this. Yeah, you came by just at the very end, unfortunately. But I could talk a little bit more about my experiences as a visual novel creator. So, first of all, let's set the browser capture over here. Here we go. That is too big. Way too big. Way too big. Very, very big. Now it's way too small. Something like this should be okay. Okay. Yeah, we're good this way. So, if you go to the Visual Novel Database, vndb.org, and search for producer Lord Cloud X like this, Lord Cloud X, go to producers. There I am, Lord Cloud X. And these are all of the visual novels I've released under the name Lord Cloud X. But if you see here, there's Radical Dreamers 2002. That's my group name. And these are the other visual novels I made. I started with this one, my very first visual novel release back in 2005. It's called Wings. And there are screenshots here of my art back then. It was really terrible, by the way. Look at that, I drew that back in 2005. Very, very bad. Because I was always more of a writer rather than an artist. And, you know, but I think we have time. Let me grab my copy of Hickory's Ribbon real quickly. So I'm gonna read it out on screen. Why not? Here's an ebook and not that one. Looks like I'm gonna have to go down and get my external hard disk. Excuse me for a bit. I'll be right back. And I am back and I've plugged in my hard disk. Hopefully I didn't disconnect. Hello, Mr. 64. You're just in time. Because I just finished reading my 2 older visual novels. But now I'm gonna do a reading of another visual novel that I think would be a very interesting experience for everyone. And that is Hickory's Ribbon. I actually composed all the music for this one by myself. Let me find where I place it first though. Somewhere in my old external hard drive. I should have transferred this to my SSD actually. Anyway, where was I? So in this browser, rd2k2.games.blogspot.com. This is my personal archive of all of the stuff there. rd2k2. It's rd2k2. Here we go. rd2k2. There we go. This is my personal archive of all my old visual novels. Anyway, what I'm searching for is Hickory's Ribbon. Hopefully I didn't delete it. That would be very sad. Here, there, I found it. No, not this one. Okay, let's go for Hickory Final. Because it was originally a visual novel and then I just changed it into a PowerPoint presentation. But I don't want the movie version. I want the PowerPoint presentation that I originally used. I'm trying to find it in my old hard disk right now. so that I can end this stream with reading of my old visual novel. If not, then I'm gonna have to use wonder if I place it here. I know I placed it somewhere. No. Can't seem to find it. Alright, let's search again. In here, maybe? I had a folder for it, but I can't seem to find it. Wait. Let's arrange these by name. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I really can't find it seems. Maybe on my old hard disk. Wait a minute. I want the one with updated graphics. And let me just check where these things come from real quickly. Old images, old PSD. Wow, these are very, very old. Obviously, not these. I am finding some very old PSDs that I made. But not the one that I'm looking for. Okay, let's search for all PPT files real quickly. If not, I'm gonna use I can't believe I actually deleted it. If not, I'm gonna use an installation of the older version of my visual novel. It's really not here, is it? Oh well, do I have to... there's this one as well, but it has my voice on it. Actually, my sister's voice. Where did I place that thing? Okay, finished searching. Found the 1.3 version. This is the very, very old version. Here's a 2012 version. Let me check real quickly. This is also a very old version. I can't believe I didn't have a backup for that. I thought I had a backup for it, but it seems I didn't. Oh, wait. Is this it? I wonder. Let's see, downloads. Wattpad cover? Come on, it has to be here somewhere. I know it's here somewhere. I just know it. In case you're... Hello, Karumi! In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to look for an old visual novel I made inside my hard disk. I can't find it anymore. It's driving me crazy. Let's see, I know I did have it somewhere here, but it's just not showing up. Let me check again. Sort by type. Okay, so if it's sort by item type, I can see that it's not here at all. Great. How is the stream going, by the way? So if I go here and... Where is it? Fudge, come on. Stop it. Open file location. My documents. RD 2002. These are very, very old. Maybe inside the salvage folder. check my old media fire thingy. First, turn off this browser thing. I'm gonna check my media fire. Because for some reason, media fire stores files almost forever. It's not on my Google Drive, so... Hello? Did I find it? Did I find it? No, it's not here. I only have the ebook for it. That's not what I was looking for. Ah, well. Why don't I just use the old version then? I wanted the one with updated artwork, but you guys know that I can do better art nowadays. So, let's go with the old version. Sorry for the delay. Okay, old version, here we go. You guys are gonna laugh at my drawings. Back then, I was really bad. But before I continue, I just want to check real quickly. Could anybody confirm in the chat if anyone is still here? Just so you know, say hi right now in the chat. So I would know that I'm not talking to myself, basically. Exception? Full traceback. What? What's going on? Why is there an exception here? Is this thing not compatible with current Windows? Gotta be kidding me. Then let's run it with compatibility mode for Service Pack 2. How you like that, huh? Okay. Gonna run this as admin. Still getting errors. But my other stuff seemed to work, so that is strange. Wait, I have a Dropbox, don't I? Maybe it's in here. Hello? What's inside my Dropbox? I have my stories here. And they are all in text format, which is sad. So those aren't what I was looking for. Not in here. Also not in here. Where did I place that? Desktop. Old desktop stuff. Well, this is not my desktop. Inside this one, maybe. You know what? I think it's on my main desktop, probably. No, it's not. That is strange. Did I delete it or something? I could have deleted it, I guess. But I think it's unlikely. I tend to keep everything I make. Let's go here. Not here. Hello! Hello, Geeks with Cash. Welcome back. I'm actually trying to find, one of my very first visual novels, because, I'm gonna end the stream by reading it here. And if I can't, you know what? I'm having such a hard time finding it. I might as well download it. It'd probably be faster, but it should be here in my old hard disk. I am just having the worst time trying to find it. It is just not showing up for me for some reason. Let's see, here it is. Let me try unzipping this to my desktop real quickly, see if it runs under Windows 10. It should still run under Windows 10, but I'm not even sure anymore. Like, it seems like everything doesn't work nowadays for me. Hello, it goes full screen. We don't want it to go full screen. Ah, good. This one finally works. Yay! Okay, here we go. Finally. Huh? It's media fire. Oh. I should put it up like this. There we go, boys. This is, the third, visual novel I ever made. And as you can see, it's from 2006. The art will be very amateurish for this because I was very bad at drawing back then, as you're gonna see right now. Anyway, it's loud. I thought so. Gonna go with this. so friggin' loud. Let us begin. Hopefully there's no voices here. Okay. Here we go. Once upon a time, in a place long forgotten, a little girl named Hikari was living with her aunt in an isolated hut in the forest. Hikari would often venture into the forest to play with the animals. Then, one day, intrigued by the sound of her laughter, a young elf approached her. When she saw the elf, the girl was deathly scared of the strange, long-eared, human-like creature. But then, the elf began to speak to her in the few reassuring human words that he knew. Don't be afraid. We are friends. Hikari, although hesitant at first, soon realized that the elf meant her no harm. She smiled softly. Yes, we are friends. And so, from that day on, Hikari and the elf became good friends. He showed her many wonderful elfin magic that delighted her to no end. One day, however, they had a vicious quarrel. It was over something so trivial that it shouldn't have gone so far. Yet, in the world of humans, often the most insignificant things lead to families breaking up, wars erupting, and the best of friends parting. While they were playing, Hikari's precious purple ribbon, which her aunt had given her, fell into the river. The current was so fast that there was no way that it could have been retrieved in time. Nobody was sure whose fault it was. Neither of them wanted to be at fault. So Hikari blamed the elf, and the elf in turn blamed her. The argument got so out of proportion, with neither of them backing down, that Hikari ran away screaming, "I hate you, and I never want to see you again. You're not real. Elves don't exist." At first, the elf, in his anger, also did not want to see her again. But then, looking back at what had happened, he realized that they had fought for such a stupid reason that it couldn't possibly destroy their great friendship. He felt sure that Hikari would realize this. Wait a second. It's still too loud. Music's still too loud. Anyway, back we go. He felt sure that Hikari would realize this and would someday return to their usual spot in the forest. And the young elf waited and waited for a very long time. But his dear friend never returned. Yet, he kept on believing in Hikari, for he knew in his heart that they were still friends. What the elf didn't know was that Hikari's aunt had died of an illness, and she had since returned to civilization. And the elf, who kept believing that his dear friend would return, finally made a decision. That ribbon. I will search for her precious purple ribbon and once I find it, she will surely return. And the elf left the forest in search of the purple ribbon. He searched in caves. He searched in streams and rivers. He searched in the petrified woods. But he still could not find that precious purple ribbon. He even came to the human world, where he met a man who offered him a box full of pretty purple ribbons. All yours, kid, for the very low price of $1.99. But the elf knew that the thing he was searching for was different. Even though they looked similar, his friend's ribbon was not there, so he moved on. Another time in his travels, he came upon a fellow elf who asked him, "Why are you so intent on finding that little girl's ribbon? It's obvious that she doesn't want to see you anymore." But the elf was unfazed. He knew Hickory better than that, and he never stopped believing in her. Hello, Gator J. This is a visual novel that I wrote a long time ago, back in 2006. It's called Hickory's Ribbon. And the young elf continued his search until he reached the land of eternal snow. He pushed on through the deep drifts, the biting cold, and the freezing winds, which tirelessly battered his frail little body. Then, in the distance, he saw a strange sight. A white beast with bear-like claws, long, sharp, jagged teeth, and 2 killer horns. Much to his delight, he saw a purple ribbon stuck to one of the beast's horns. He immediately recognized that it was the ribbon that he had been searching for. At long last, his relentless searching had paid off. He approached the white beast carefully, wanting only to take the purple ribbon from its horn. But this particular beast was especially sensitive to magical creatures. It immediately smelled the presence of magic. The white beast turned in the direction of the elf, and without warning, mercilessly pounced on him. The elf was driven deep into the snow, where the beast pummeled and trampled him, until he was no longer moving. Time passed. The elf, who was barely breathing, slowly opened his eyes. He was greeted by a familiar pair of eyes, looking worriedly into his own. They belonged to a pretty girl who had found his half-dead body in the snow. "Are you all right, little boy? Should I take you to a doctor?" But the elf refused her offer, knowing fully well that he was beyond that kind of help now. He held his hand out to her and asked her to take what he was holding. It was Hickory's purple ribbon. "It's yours. I knew that you would return if I found it. I believed in you, because we are friends." For the elf knew that Even though her appearance had changed, this person was indeed the same little girl whom he had shared so many precious memories with. And as the little girl was now an adult who had stopped believing in fairy tales and magic long ago, took the purple ribbon, which was now faded with age and torn in several places in her hand, tears slowly and uncontrollably fell from her eyes. For deep in her heart, even though her adult self denied the existence of magical creatures, the young lady remembered a precious friend that she had taken for granted long ago. She remembered the many bygone years when she had returned to that special place in the forest in search of him. And even though it seemed impossible, she knew that this dying little boy in front of her was that precious friend she had been searching for. Thus, remembering the days of her childhood through the mist of tears, she once again smiled with that same innocence that she thought she had lost long ago, and said the very same words that had started their friendship. Yes, we are friends. And she added, we will always be friends. And upon hearing this, the elf breathed his last. But something unusual happened. His body rose up into the sky and was bathed in a faint white light. Then the light dispersed and covered the entire world for an instant, leaving no trace of the elf's body behind. Yet, because it was only for a very short time, only a few people saw this light. This was the light of trust. The elf's trust for Hickory was so immense that it spread out to engulf the entire world when he died. A long time has passed since the world received the light of trust. And although it may not have changed things all that much, noticeably, the people started believing in each other just a little bit more. The end. And that was it. My third visual novel. One of my very first visual novels from 2006. Comes with author's notes, but I guess we'll skip that. I don't think these are relevant anymore. So we come to the end. So there we go. 3 visual novels this stream, written by me. And that was from a long time ago, before I could draw very well. Right now, I say I'm pretty good at drawing, but as you can see from my art in these visual novels, I was pretty much an amateur back then. Although I would say I was already mature as a writer even back then. Anyway, I'm not sure if anybody was paying attention at all, which kind of irritates me a little bit. But whatever. I made this stream to pour my heart out to you guys with my writings. So now that I've gotten that out of my system, I guess I'll be doing this every Saturday. Next time, we'll be looking at another piece of mine called 1 Week of Eternity. It was available at some point on Google Play, but not anymore. That also makes me kinda angry. Just a little bit. So, I guess that's the end of the stream. I'm gonna show you a little preview of 1 Week of Eternity. And this time I'm sure it's in my hard drive. Haha, there it is. It's there in my hard drive. I found it. Here it is. 1 Week of Eternity. I was already a pretty good artist by the time that I made this one. This was from sometime in 2009 to 2010. You'll see quite a difference in the art here. See? Much, much better. Again, we have such loud sound effects. One Week of Eternity has very sparse graphics as well. It's more about the story, and it was written in a traditional novel style, although it is still in the first-person perspective. So yeah, this is 1 Week of Eternity. It's available for Android if you search it, although not on the Google Play Store. I'll be reading this one by chapters next time, because I'm gonna skip through the words here. It has very long chapters, and it's 5 chapters long. See, lots and lots of text, lots and lots of words. Words, words, words. More words. Lord Cloud X writes lots of words. To give you a bit of a primer on this, in this story, we follow the life of 11-year-old Alyssa Cruz. She was suddenly diagnosed with a terminal illness and given just 1 week to live. But then she meets a sorceress who tells her that she can choose to relive the last week of her life over and over again. So she's given 1 week of eternity, so to speak. Or she can choose to continue living out the rest of her life and finally dying. Or not, as the case may be. We'll have to find out next time. So yeah, during Saturdays we're doing visual novels, my visual novels, because I have written a whole lot of them, actually. And I want to pour my heart out and share them with you guys, my new audience. But that is it for now. This has been Lord Cloud X, and I'm out. And I say bye-bye to you guys. So, bye-bye!